Now let's go ahead and take our single image and we will create a image gallery, and that image gallery will be based on a flex element. All right, so let's go back and let's get this started first by adding a parent element, which will be the parent, which will hold the display flex property and value. So let's go ahead and add, we'll just use a div class. Let's call this gallery. And let's go ahead and close our div. Now we will just take our div with class myImage, our image, and our overlay and our type, and let's just copy and let's paste this 5 more times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now what we need to do is we need to create a class for gallery. So that comes before my image. So let's place our rule up here. If I said a class a moment ago, I meant a rule. I don't recall. But anyway, so we have our, we're now going to write a rule to style gallery. So dot gallery. Let's go ahead and set the position. And in this example, let's just go with relative. I'll set the width to 100%. I'll let the height be auto, so we'll base the height off of the content inside. And let's add a background. And I'm just going to go with an RGBA color and kind of create a sepia color here. Go along with the steampunk. All right, so we should have our background put in, and then let's see, on image, I have 10px on the margin. So I had added that earlier, but this will give us some space around our image. So let's go ahead and save. Okay, so we now have our elements laying out. Now remember, these are divs, so they're going to be stacked up. We want them to lay out in a row, and then those rows can be adjusted to columns. So let's go to W3 Schools and just do a quick review of Flexbox. So we need to begin by creating the parent container. So we'll just use display flex, and we're going to add display flex to gallery. Okay, now we need to decide, are we going to use rows or columns? So we're going to deal with the flex direction, and we're going to deal with flex wrap. Okay, so column, column reverse, row, reverse column, and then there's flex wrap. Are we going to have our elements wrap or not? Well, I want to create a row. I want a flex direction of row, and I want a flex wrap of wrap. So I could call out both of those, okay? Or what we can do is, let's go down a little further, and we could use the flex flow property, and the flex flow will let us create a little matrix, and we can call out row and wrap, or column and no wrap, or whatever combination. So let's just go with the flex flow, like so. Matter of fact, let's make sure we keep our formatting the same. And we will go ahead and save. And we now have our elements working, or our flex box element working correctly. Okay. Now, what we can also do is right-click, and in both Chrome and Firefox, you have Inspect available. In Safari, I believe you have to go into the Preferences and enable in the Developer panel. You have to enable Inspect. All right, so we're going to go to Inspect, and this is a really nice feature that can help you out. So let's just, sometimes selecting this panel here is a little tough. But what's really nice about this is you can set or go to a device toolbar. So if we click on device toolbar, in this case what I had used last was a breakpoint of 480. There are some default breakpoints here. Maybe you're developing towards iPhone X, so now you can see how your content works on an iPhone. And what you're going to do is you're not going to be able to hover. So on a device you tap, and that's how you would get those hovers to appear to work. And of course you can gesture through. So let's say you wanted to check out iPad Pro. Okay, so there's a nice example of that flex helping you create a responsive layout. Now we have some kind of funky space over here, but what you would do is you would figure out, you would be adding some margin or padding on this side, and you would be getting your content to center. That's just something that you'll have to do depending on your particular layout, or you'll have to resize your flex elements, your images, so you could have 3 columns instead of just 2. But that's something that you're going to have to figure out based on your own layouts. Now I'm also going to point out that you'll notice I have some custom breakpoints here. So you can go down to Edit, and then in Edit you can add other breakpoints that are available, okay? Or you can create a custom breakpoint of your own width and height, depending on what it is you're trying to target, okay? All right, so using Inspect. Now, what I want to do next, let's go to a Galaxy 5. And what you're going to notice is the brim of the hat is getting chopped off here. So my element is flexing, but my images are not, okay? So we're going to do a couple things. First, we are going to go to W3 Schools, and we're going to take a look at what is the Meta Viewport, okay? So since we're starting to deal with responsive, even though this is just flex at this moment, I'm still going to go ahead and add this meta element here. So let's copy, and we will go back to our code. We will scroll up to the top, and after the meta for the character set, I'm going to add in the meta for the viewport. So this is basically going to allow your page to communicate with the viewport. All right. Now, what I'm going to do next is on my image, I'm going to target the image element inside. So let's do dot my image img. So we're targeting the image element inside of my image, and we're going to set the width to 100%. So our image will now scale with the flex box. Okay, so let's go ahead and save, and we'll go back, and I'll have to update, and you'll see that our image fits inside. All right, so we're off to a pretty good start as far as creating an image gallery. We have our overlay. Now in the device environment, we'll have to tap, and let's go ahead and go out of our settings here, And if we go back to what is a regular desktop view, then our hovers are enabled again. Okay, so if we were to go back, now what's going to happen is, how does the user know that they should even click on this element to get this overlay, to get this information? So one thing you could do is this overlay could be slightly inside. I've seen that. But if there's no type, chances of someone clicking on it are probably not great. You could potentially create sort of a shape that was kind of a top of an arrow pointing up. But what we're going to do is we're just going to place an icon, and that icon hopefully is going to get the attention of the user and make them at least consider clicking on it. So we'll do that next.